Good morning, students. This class, we are going to discuss some concept about the microprocessor. So let us see the small recap of the previous lecture. You know what is a microprocessor? Then what is the difference between the MPU and the CPU? Then organization of the microprocessor. Now, this class, we have to see the microprocessor instruction set and the computer languages. Right. You know, in the digital system, the computer accepts only the binary numbers. Like that, the microprocessor recognize and operate only the binary numbers. Each microprocessor has its own binary word, meaning, and language. The word, or normally we call it word length, is defined as a number of bits that a microprocessor recognizes and process at a time. For example, we say a 16-bit computer, a 32-bit computer. That means 32-bit means the computer recognizes and process 32 bits at a time. Okay. For a small system, that is for computer or microprocessor, it recognizes 4-bit. Then, for example, Intel 8085 system uses the 8-bit word length. The 8086 microprocessor uses the 16-bit word length. Similarly, the Pentium processor uses 32-bit word length. Then Core processor uses the 64-bit word length. Now, the word length ranges from 4-bit to 64-bit. Okay. Now, another term we commonly use to express the word length is in terms of byte. You know what is byte? A byte is a group of 8 bits. For example, a 16-bit microprocessor has a word length of equal to 2 bytes, that is 8 plus 8. Then we have used another one term, what is called a nibble. A nibble stands for a group of 4 bits. That means a byte consists of 2 nibble. Okay. So these are the bit means 0, 1, byte. Byte is a group of 8 bits. Then word length, the number of bits recognized by a microprocessor. Then nibble, 4 bits form a nibble. Therefore, the byte has required 2 nibble. Okay. Now, so machine language. Computer accept only binary digits. That is a combination of 0 and 1. Therefore, the language used by the computer is called a machine language. Okay. Now, the machine language is independent of the machine. Suppose that if you know the language of one particular machine, we cannot use the same in another machine. So it is a machine dependent. So let me see a simple machine language. Here 0011 and 1100. So this is an instruction that increment the number in the register called accumulator by 1. That means 0011 stands for the increment, and 110 stand for the accumulator, that is a register. So we cannot use the same 0011, for example, increment in another machine. It has different code. Okay. Similarly, here another one instruction 1000, then 0000. That is an instruction that add the number in the register called B to the number in the accumulator and keep the sum of the value in the accumulator. That means this 1000 stands for addition. Along with this 000 is the register B. Okay, that means add the accumulator value along with the register value, and the result is stored in the register B. Okay, so the advantage of machine language is the machine can only accept the binary digits, whereas the disadvantage is it is machine dependent. So we cannot use in another machine the same codes, and also that one can remember very difficult, and the debugging is also difficult. Okay? So that is the major disadvantage of machine language. Now, assembly language. So already we have seen the machine language. The instruction is in binary code, so that we use the mnemonics instead of the binary digits. So what is called an assembly language? For example, you see that 0011. This is stands for the increment. Therefore, Intel uses INR. INR means increment. And 1100. So the accumulator A. So INR stands for the increment and A represents the accumulator. So this is increment accumulator. Okay. Instead of binary, the microprocessor uses in the form of hexadecimal system. That is, this is 0011 is a 3 and 1100 is a C. Therefore, 3C. This instruction is a 3C or 3CH. H stands for the hexadecimal. Therefore, INR A we can convert into machine code 3C in hexadecimal format. Similarly, the second instruction 1000. So this is used as a mnemonic add, and then 000 stands for the register B. Therefore, add B means the content of accumulator is added with the register B, and then the result will be stored in the register B. Okay. Therefore, 1000. So this is 8. 000 is a 0. So 80. This is in hexadecimal format of this machine code of this mnemonic. So compared to machine language, we can easily understand the assembly language because this is in the format of English. But the assembly language is also the machine dependent. That means if you use the assembly language in one machine, for example, the Intel machine, you cannot apply the same instruction set in another machine. For example, the Motorola 6800 or Zilog Z80. So each machine has its own instruction set. Instruction set means the set of instruction. So 8085 microprocessor has 246 such bit pattern, which amounts to 74 different instructions for performing various operations. Okay, so these 74 different instructions are called its instruction set. So this is one instruction, this is another instruction, like that move is another instruction, then jump is another instruction, like that. There are 74 different instructions are used by 8085 processor. The next time, high level language. We know what is high level language. Since I already told you, the assembly level language and machine languages are machine dependent. That means when we change or when we work on different machine, we have to learn different instruction set, like that, different binary sets. So that is very difficult to understand as well as debug. So in order to overcome this problem, we use the high level languages. So the main advantage of high level language is here, machine dependent. That means you can use the same language in different machines. So the famous high level languages are C, C++, Java, Python, etc. Okay. So you can use the C in the Unix operating system, and you can use the C in the Turbo, that is the Turbo C compiler of Intel processor. You need not change the instructions. That is, whatever instruction you used in one machine, the same instructions are used in another machine. That is the machine independent. So that we are using the high level language. Now, since the machine accepts only the machine code, so suppose if you use an high level assembly level language, since the machine accepts only the machine code, so how the machine can understand if you are a programmer write in the assembly language? Okay, that is an assembler. An assembler is an intermediate software which takes the assembly language as an input and then convert to machine readable code. So it is like a translator. That is, a person knows English, another person knows only Tamil. Then how both can communicate means there need another person who knows both the languages. Then only he can translate. Okay, like that, an assembler which accept the assembly language as an input and convert to the machine code. Okay. Similarly, if you use the high level language, so again we need a translator. So that translator is called a compiler and interpreter. Some system uses the compiler and some system uses the interpreter. So both are same. The only difference is the compiler compiles all the statements, that is the entire statements in your program, and display if there is any error, whereas the interpreter executes line by line. Okay, it executes first statement, then if the statement has no error, then it goes to second statement and so on. So both are the same, both are the translators. Okay, then so what is source code and what is object code? Okay, that is source code means, for example, you take the assembler. The assembly language is a source code. Then object code is the machine language. The corresponding machine code is a object. Similarly, in the high level, the source code is a C, C++, Java, whatever you are going to use. Then when you compile a C or C++ program, what happened? An object code is generated. So this object code is only accepted by the computer. Okay. So what is source code and object code? Then operating system. So you know what is operating system. Without an operating system, we cannot communicate with the system, right? So the operating system is a software which interact with the hardware. So the inner part is a hardware. The hardware consists of a CPU, RAM, disk, etc. Then the next part is a operating system. Okay. So the operating system uses various tools and utilities in order to communicate with the hardware. For example, the compiler, assembler. These are the system softwares. Okay. That is used by the operating system to convert the corresponding code to machine readable code. Okay. And then again, the application software. The user can interact with the system by the application software. Okay. So the Word, Paint, etc. Office softwares we used, or the text editors. Then the operating system takes this software and then it communicates with the hardware. Okay. So the operating system is the heart of the system. Okay, student, let us see the summary of the today lecture. So what are the instruction sets and the computer languages? Then what is machine language? Then what is assembly language? Here we are using 8085, therefore 8085 assembly language. And then what are the high level languages? And then what is the operating system?